Hello and welcome to FinextraTV. I'm Alex Lipich, and kindly joining me virtually today is Rick Sowers of CalPrivate Bank. Rick, it's great to see you virtually.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to see you as well.
It's an absolute pleasure. And today we're going to be touching on community banking and innovation. So I'd love to know, Rick, how would you differentiate a community bank from a larger one? Let's start there.
Yeah. I get this question a lot of, kind of what separates community banks from larger banks. Community banks in the United States are really, in all areas, rural areas, city areas, we're throughout the country. And really it's part of, the fabric of each community is where community banks play an essential role. So, of the 4,000 plus banks, the majority of those are going to be community banks, right? So they're going to be in your neighborhoods. And I think really what separates us is the ability to have that personalized service. Like we have much fewer customers than, say, larger banks. So we're really able to pay attention and build those really strong relationships. So we talk about it in three words at our company, at CalPrivate. So it's relationships, solutions, and trust. And relationships being at the center of everything we do. We live here, we work here. This is where our kids go to school. So we really want to see our communities thrive, right? And we build strong relationships in the community. And through those building of relationships, we're able to build trust with people. And I think if you don't trust your financial services organization or your bank, then you should definitely find a new one, right? Because it's really important decision for you as a business owner, as an individual, as a family, is who you're actually trusting to do your banking business with. And I think that last word, trust, is really about that connectivity to your customer. And do they trust that you're doing the right thing by them and the right thing for the community? And that's really where community banks thrive.
Really interesting. And you've identified just how important the trust element is there. So why would you say do community banks really matter? And I'd love to know your opinion on whether you think we're currently experiencing an era of growth at the moment, would you say?
Well, I think, if you look at statistically, we're not growing the total number of banks, right? I mean, in the United States, in the 90s, there were over 12,000 banks. There are a little over 4,000 now. We lose a couple of hundred, between 100 and 200 banks per year in the United States. And over the last 3 years, since 2022, we've only opened 26 banks. So, we're losing this engine of new companies that are starting. And a lot of that's just because of the cost, right? It's a very expensive business to be in. It's capital intensive. And the regulatory environment has really created a burden for community banks to start. So, if we think about how vital community banks are in the community and how much of the lending that they do, 60+% of the lending to small businesses. And of course, as you guys know, small businesses are the engine of the economy, right? That they employ the most number of people. So it's really important that community banks are thriving. And I think, we'll see under this new administration what the regulatory frame looks like. But I think, community banks play such a vital role in, delivering not only products and services, but delivering the ability to understand deeply what those businesses are doing, what their growth plans are, what their family plans are, and being able to take the time to really listen to that customer, to know that customer, and provide something that's valuable to that customer. I don't think that could be done in a much larger model. It's just, it's like you and I talking here virtually. That's what develops a strong relationship for our clients and the bank, is that personal connection.
Personal connection. You've also mentioned how SMEs shouldn't be forgotten about because, like you say, they are the engine behind a lot of that growth.
For
Really,
sure.
really fascinating. Rick, when we talk about innovation, particularly technological growth, what does that actually mean for banking in 2025? What would you say to that?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at the larger banks, they're spending hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars on innovation. And innovation might be, mobile banking, it might be online banking, it might be AI. I think when we look at innovation in community banks, number one, I think it's the path to what we say is independence, earning our independence, right? There's a lot of consolidation that goes on. And from my perspective, two things need to occur in order for community banks to continue to thrive. Number one is they have to offer relevant, timely products and services to their clients. And that's changing, right? And the number two thing is that we have to provide a good rate of return to our shareholders. And the only way, from my perspective, to do that is to really embrace technology and innovation. So we use partnerships. We have a partnership with Bank Tech Ventures and Jam FinTop and Bank Tech Consortium, and we really use these platforms as our incubators and our research and development departments to allow us to really understand what's going on in the fintech ecosystem and how that might actually benefit banks like ours, right? So we don't have the same budgets as those larger banks, but we really are intimate enough with our clients to understand what's really important to them and then focusing on those things that are really important to them. So, building new products and services, how we deliver, and what I call future proofing the bank is really what we're focused on. So, the college kids and, my kids that are in high school, they don't do stuff in person. They don't do that, the concierge banking in person. They do it on their phone. And so we've got to be able to adapt the way we deliver products and services based on how the generations want to be served. And I think, if you're not doing that as a community bank and you're really not paying attention to that, you're probably not going to be around very long, right? As we know, like our world is becoming more and more about technology, right? Every single day, you can't read a single article without a mention of artificial intelligence and machine learning and blockchain, and all of those things are really critical in, and adapting to a new world.
You touched on the fintech ecosystem there. I'm sure you'd agree that the markets continue to be turbulent. So safety continues to be a high concern, really, of the utmost importance. Rick, how would you say banks are addressing that issue, making sure that their consumers are well protected?
Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing that keeps me up at night, it's fraud, cybersecurity, client safety. And I think it's number one, it's very, very simple. All consumers need to educate themselves. And banks need to educate themselves. I mean, you can't go into this blindly. We wake up every single day to ensure that our clients' data and our security posture is strong because banks are always targets, just like our customers are. And it's really important that consumers do things like just the basics. Have strong passwords. Use multi-factor authentication. Don't click on that link if you don't know who it's from. I mean, these are the basics, but we, a couple of years ago, partnered with the FBI to put together what we called Cyber Summer. And it was just an education process for our clients, right? We have a whole resource center on our website of all the things. We do statement stuffers and outbound phone calls and things to really educate our clients because it is in the days of Instagram and people wanting to, find new products and services and clicking on links and adding their debit card. It's just, you see that the level of fraud just absolutely skyrocketing. So number one is education. And number two is just really having a technology infrastructure that is sound, that is going to protect your customers' data. And it's just critical.
I think some key words I brought from this interview: relationships, trust, and education. It's been an education for me listening to hear what you had to say. So thank you ever so much for joining us, Rick. It's been a pleasure to see you virtually.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.